Look, out on the road. It's a bird. It's a plane. No, it's super mileage car. As light as a bird, built like an airplane, and drivable like a car, it can go farther on a liter of gas than most other cars in the world. You have to lie on your back and look through your feet to drive it, but it's not made for comfort. Super mileage cars are purely experimental vehicles, built by engineering students from all over North America. The cars come in many different shapes and sizes, as students compete against each other every year to see whose car can go the farthest on the least amount of gasoline. It takes a lot of thinking and inventing. In other words, it takes good science.
All right. Okay.
The current world champions are from the University of Saskatchewan. Their vehicle can go 2,422 kilometers on 1 liter of gasoline. Theoretically, it could cross Canada on 1 imperial gallon. A normal car can go about 15 to 20 kilometers on a liter. So how do super mileage cars go so far on so little? First, these cars are about as different from the family car as the space shuttle is to a paper airplane. Second, they spend most of their time driving with the engine turned off. If you think about it, when a car is slowing down, it doesn't need the engine. And it obviously doesn't need the engine when it's standing still. But all cars and trucks have their engines running all the time, making traffic jams very wasteful on fuel. The super mileage cars have small one-cylinder engines, the kind found on lawnmowers and go-karts. They don't use much gas to begin with. During the competition, the cars must start under their own power and make it around a circular track like this one at the Shell Research Center in Oakville, Ontario. At the beginning, the car accelerates up to a fairly high speed. Then the engine shuts down, and it coasts on its own momentum. This is the first step in getting good mileage. The engine is only used when it's needed. The driver has to watch the speed carefully as the car slows down to know exactly when to turn the engine back on and add just enough speed to make it around the track on time, but still use as little fuel as possible. Actually run for thousands of kilometers during the competition. Otherwise, it would take months to complete. The gas mileage is calculated by weighing the official bottle of gasoline. The bottle is precisely weighed by officials before and after the run to see how much fuel was used. The car that used the least amount of gas wins. As the University of Saskatchewan students prepare for the next competition, they look for ways to improve the car's mileage even further. To be world champions, you need a little something extra, and that something is in the shape of the car's body. The sides of the body are curved. When the wind blows around this curve, it creates lift in a forward direction, almost like a sail on a sailboat. It's called negative drag.
This is where we get our big advantages from the crosswind. Cars, if they build them nowadays like airfoils, just like our car, the mileage would be so much higher on all cars. It would look pretty funny, and it'd probably be a pretty long car, but you'd get a lot better mileage out of that.
That secret made them world champions, but now the secret's out and everyone will be trying.
Paris to be driving this car. This is a large North American car with a huge V8 engine, and maybe on a good day it gets 15 to 17 miles per gallon. That's not very efficient considering at the moment it's only carrying one person. A more efficient car is the newer models. This one's a 1987. I feel like a car salesman. This one gets about 30 miles to the gallon because it has a smaller motor, only 4 cylinders in here. A more efficient vehicle yet is a motorcycle. Now this one's got a little one-cylinder engine in it, and it probably gets maybe 60 or 70 miles per gallon. However, on a day like today in Saskatchewan, when the temperature is about minus 33 degrees, this is not a very practical vehicle. I certainly wouldn't want to take it out myself. But wouldn't it be nice to combine the gas mileage of a vehicle like this with the protection and safety of a vehicle like that? Well, it has been done, and that vehicle is being built right here at the University of Saskatchewan.
Contestants will have to make 4 laps around the 1.735-mile track at a minimum speed of 15 miles per hour. Fuel consumption will be determined by taking a standard Nalgene laboratory bottle with a shutoff valve, filling it with fuel, weighing it, and installing it on the vehicle. After the run, the bottle will be removed and reweighed, the difference in weight being the amount of fuel consumed.
competition this weekend didn't need to fly, but they did need to get pretty good gas mileage. In fact, the whole point of the contest at the CHP Academy was to see who could travel 7 miles around the track using the least amount of gasoline. Teams from 9 colleges in the western U.S. and Canada were there. This team from the University of Saskatchewan set a world record 2 years ago and won the competition today with a new world record, 2,569 miles to the gallon. The contest is aimed at engineering students, co-sponsored by AAA and the Society of Automotive Engineers.
Some unique-looking contraptions.
So perhaps the lesson is don't look to the Japanese or the Germans for high mileage, look to the Canadians.
Definitely not the sort of car you'd want to venture out onto the Hollywood freeway in during rush hour traffic, especially if you get claustrophobia. They're made mostly of balsa wood, styrofoam, duct tape, mylar, wheelchair wheels, and a lawnmower engine for a motor. But if it's gasoline mileage you're interested in, these guys are definitely onto something. This vehicle, for example, designed by Canadian college students from the University of Saskatchewan, set a new track record today of 2,569 miles a gallon. That's equivalent to almost all the way across the United States on a single gallon of gasoline. Not too shabby. Actually, that's rather paltry compared to the world's amateur record in these things of almost double that, 4,742 miles a gallon, set right here on this same track 2 years ago. Although these motorized cocoons are capable of speeds up to 55 miles an hour, most of them average only 15 miles an hour, simply in order to get maximum gas mileage. But what practical value does all this have? Well, these University of Saskatchewan students have taken what they learned here and used it to build this fully qualified street vehicle, which can survive a head-on crash at 30 miles an hour and still get, are you ready for this? 185 miles a gallon. Bill Branch, Newswatch 13, Yolo County.
Today in the 3rd annual West Coast Mileage Competition and set a new U.S. record with the Canadian Challenge today at 2,569 miles per gallon.